Okay, thank you. All right. Okay. So presenting to you all, Tony Smith, CEO of Restaurant365. This is a company that focuses on back office solutions, mainly for accounting for the restaurant industry in US. It was founded by Tony and his partners in 2011. So Tony, thanks for coming on the show. It's great to have a chat with you. So I'm going to start with the first question, Tony. You come from an accounting background, right? Till 2010, you worked in a company which did consulting for accounting services. What was the point when you decided to build a solution for this industry?
Yeah, so the two founders, my two co-founders, there's three of us that started Restaurant365, and the three of us worked together previously in another business. We were reselling other software and customizing it, but working with all industries. So we would, one day I'd be working at a cemetery doing software, and then another day at an oil factory. It just depended. And so at one point, we thought it would really be fantastic to create our own solution for one industry and be able to go really deep in it, really meet their needs and not feel like we're reinventing the wheel every single day. And so because of that, we started looking for that right industry that had the need that our skills could meet. And when we came upon the restaurant industry, which we all loved the restaurant industry. And so as we saw the needs that it had, it was a great fit for us. And so then, in 2011, like you said, that's where we started creating our solution specifically for them. And it took us about 2 years to get most of what we consider the core solution out. So it was really like early 2014 when we got more serious about marketing it and taking it out to the market. So,
okay, that's great. So one of the questions I had for you, Tony, was how did you manage between 2011 and 14 when probably it was just an idea at the time, right? Let's try this out and see. And so why did you focus on restaurant vertical, particularly I think initially you started off as an accounting services platform, if I remember right, and then you kind of moved on to build other solutions around that. Why did you choose the restaurant industry, and why do you think they needed it more than other people?
Yeah, it was. You're right. We started with accounting for restaurants as the first product that we built. And we looked at how restaurants did accounting, and they're super unique because they are kind of like a mini manufacturing plant that's manufacturing the meal right when people walk up to the counter. So because of that, inventory is tracked very differently in restaurants. And then there's a lot of other little complexities. If you own multiple stores and then they each have a cash deposit each night, and they each have a cash amount they're expecting, and sometimes based on employees, mistakes or different things, you get a different amount of cash than you were expecting to get. You're also clearing credit card fees. There's so much to it that we found so many restaurants were doing a lot of things in Excel, and then they would do their accounting in an accounting program. And we thought, well, why can't we build an accounting program for them and do away with all of this manual processing they're doing, because the restaurant industry is special. And so that's why we said we need to create a full accounting program, just like the other ones out there, but only for restaurants. And it can go really deep. So that was how we did it.
Got it. Excellent. Okay, that brings us to my next question. Can you tell us a bit about your co-founders and what kind of chemistry you have with them?
Yeah, well, so the three of us, now it's been a decade, and I'm really happy that all three of us are still really engaged in the business. So my co-founders are Morgan Harris and John Moody, and they both came from a stronger sales and marketing background, which was a great fit with me. I came from more of, say, the product side, and then as the business grew, more of the business administration side of it, but as well as the product design, and we've each worn so many hats over the years, just doing whatever the business needs, especially at first because we funded this ourselves for the first 7 years. And so it was on our own dime and our own efforts with the great employees that we were able to bring in over the first few years. And then we really grew from there. And now we've been able to do take some minority investment rounds from some great investors. And I'm so happy they're supporting us, but I'm also really glad to still get to work side by side with the co-founders.
Excellent. In fact, I was about to come to that because I think till about 2017-18, you didn't raise any funds. The last two rounds were Iconic and Tiger Global, and before that was Bessemer Venture Partners, who are typically bullish on restaurant tech. Bessemer's, right? They do
Yeah.
quite a few investments on Western Tech. So how difficult was it to fund the business for 6-7 years?
Yeah, well, the funny, the interesting thing, at first we knew it wasn't going to be immediately, making money or something. And so we made an Excel sheet right at the beginning that showed basically, here's what your money's going to do for a long time. And then, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and here's the break even line, this is going to be a long haul. And so it was a serious commitment. And we each looked at each other and said, we can't get 1 year into this and then say, hey, wait, why isn't this doing so great? You have to understand this is going to take years. And we each looked around the room and said, yeah, we're up for it. And that's how we all decided to do it.
Excellent. I think it requires a lot of commitment between all of you to believe in what you're doing. I mean, 3-4 years with taking less salary to your home, explaining to your friends and wives, it's not easy thing to do, right?
Yeah.
So I wanna ask you. Tell me about the first check that you got from a customer. How did that happen, and how did you make your first sales? When was that? Must be a sweet moment.
Yeah, no, it is good. It's interesting. I think of different customers as, our earliest customers. Each one came at a key time. So it's kind of like the first customer we worked with was right at the beginning. Someone who was discussing with us, oh yeah, I would love that in a solution. And I always tell people when they're talking about starting their own business, one of the 5 key pillars for me is that having some early adopters who are willing to take a chance, who are willing to discuss it out with you. And so from the beginning, we had started with one of those. And then we got another one once we built the first product. And then as we kept building products, then we would have more customers. And one of the unique ones, I remember the first customer who signed up with us outside of California. So like people that we didn't know or hadn't seen around the area, all the way out on the East Coast.
Right.
Big deal. Like someone heard about us from far away and saw.
Sorry, I lost you for a bit. Someone heard you from the East Coast?
Oh, yeah, I was just saying.
Okay, something wrong with my
someone
network.
from the East Coast had heard about us. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I just said someone from the East Coast had heard about us and they signed up. And that was really, the first customer hear us, and that seemed like it was legit.
Just give me a minute, Tony. I'm going to fix this network issue. It's acting up a bit. Let's see if it's any better now, or I'll use my phone otherwise. So we're good to go now.
Okay, we're good to go. My internet on my side, and it looked like
no, it's my
I'm
problem.
at a gig, so I'm pretty fast here, I think.
No, it's my problem. So I think all founders go through stages where we feel, oh man, this is probably going somewhere, or not, it may not go somewhere, right? I mean, everyone goes through that. Were there moments of these, crests and troughs that you went through, and how did you overcome those low points in your life? You and your co-founders, of course.
Well, more recently is definitely the lowest of low when COVID has been impacting our industry so much, right? That's been very difficult. It for a number of years, our company had been doubling in size about, every year for say 5 years straight. And then COVID hit and we had to reduce our headcount. And that was really painful. That's the worst day of my career where we had to do that. It was such a low for me. And we needed to change some of the way we were running the business to run, a little tighter financially during that difficult time. And some of that was so that we could support our customers as well by, helping them financially make it through with their payments to us and that kind of thing. And so, as we did that, it was really hard. But the thing that helped to get through it was one, the culture and teamwork of our team and how connected we were and being one in purpose. Even when times are hard, you have to go back to what is the vision? What are we trying to accomplish? And why is that good for people? And then second to that was really the thinking about that positive of if we're successful, what positive difference are we going to make in our industry or in the world? And so every time things get tough, digging into that is really what's helped me go through it.
Got it. Got it. I think it must be tough to let people go. I understand how difficult it must be. What were the most loneliest of moments for you in the last, let's say, a decade, where you
Yeah.
felt, oh, I'm so alone. I don't know what to do.
um, you know, I haven't personally felt too alone, just because I've had such a great group around me, not only the co-founders, but other people that have been with us from the beginning of the company and have stuck with us. So whenever things are hard, as a company, maybe we'd feel alone, but as an individual, I don't really, because I always feel like we can rally the troops, call people together. And, if you're ever starting to get down in the dumps, surround yourself with people. That's what I think. And so, yeah, I've generally done that.
Excellent. I think a lot of people can learn from you on that part. At what stage in the last 10 years did you feel, okay, now I know this is going to be huge? What was that moment?
Yeah, it's over the years, I'd say we had 3 or 4 different points where it would jump up to another level. And so that was really exciting each time that we would make one of those jumps. I think when we decided to take our investment from venture capital investors, and I went out to a lot of top-notch investors and saw that many of them were excited and eager about the business and wanted to join. That's where I could really tell, like, hey, these are experts from the outside. I'm biased because I love the company, but these are people who don't know us and they like the company. And so then that really spoke to me, hey, other people believe in this, and we were really could go places with some of that money that they would also share. And yeah, that was a huge inflection point for us.
Yeah. That's great. So, Tony, next part of, I'll slightly get into the restaurant technology bit and the market size of US and stuff. So, you made one recent acquisition, which is Compeat. So, the first question I wanted to ask you was, you built pretty much everything for the back of house space for the restaurant industry, right? From accounting to recipe, inventory management, costing, paying your vendors, purchase orders, and other parts. All of that is taken care of, which is the crux of the restaurant operations. Didn't people ask you to build a point of sale? Why did you ever not do it?
Yeah, we are partnered with so many point of sales. People do bring it out. Customers will ask all the time, hey, when is that coming out? But we have such great partnerships with them. We pull data daily, right, from the point of sale and connect with those. And sometimes we'll push our employee schedules back to the point of the sale during the day as well. So there's good connection. And we every day, I think we pull data from 110 different brands of point of sale. Like there's so many point of sale companies out there, and we're connected with them all, and pretty much. And so because of that, we've just had a great relationship and haven't needed to build that. The restaurant industry is broad, and there's so much need on the back of house. If I start rattling off all of the modules that we built, it seems like, oh, well, no wonder you haven't built everything possible, right? Because we do right now, I mean, if you think about it, we do accounting, we do banking connected with the banks, we do inventory, recipes, and the cost analysis. We have reporting and analytics. We do employee schedules, labor, manager log. We have an employee chat app that they talk with each other and keep track of the lost and found and things like that. We do catering, event management. We do franchise account billing and contract management. And then we do payroll, HR, and hiring. So based on that, I guess that's what I should say. That's why we haven't built a POS.
Yeah. And do you think any company can build all of the technologies, or do you think it's better to focus, someone like you would rather focus on what your strengths are?
Yeah, I think someone could, but you wouldn't want to do it from the beginning. I think you want to be very deep and capable in what you are offering. Make sure it adds the most value possible before you take on that next thing or the next thing. We've been doing it for a decade, and the first few years we're really dedicated to the restaurant accounting only, right? And then we started going into the inventory and recipes and that side of it, and then the scheduling and the employee side of it. And so over time we've just gone in leaps, but it's been years. It's not like in 1 year we take on a lot of major items.
Got it. And I want to touch upon, so accounting is something every restaurant has to do because it's mandatory, your IRS, a lot of government regulations around it. When it comes to, at what stage did you move on to inventory and recipe management? Did you see a change in the way restaurants are adopting technology in that space? Because I see quite a bit of a gap in India, honestly.
In which side did you say, in inventory?
On the inventory and recipe management, costing side of it.
Yeah. I would say yes. From 2011, when we started, one of the theories that we had was that restaurants were lagging behind in technology adoption, and that was going to pick up and it would continue to accelerate because the industry was so large. And even today, if you look in America, the average restaurant spends 2.5% of their revenue on technology.
Right, right.
And if you look in other industries, like if you're looking in home services or healthcare, some of these others, those businesses spend 5% of their revenue on technology. So the restaurant industry is spending half of what other industries spend. So that means there still is adoption to come. Okay. But when we came in a decade ago, it was even smaller. And so, yeah, we've definitely seen over the years a turn towards the technology side. And then, of course, in the last year and a half, we've seen that technology has really enabled restaurants to continue to operate at a time where they couldn't operate normally.
Got it. So I was specifically asking, since you moved into, you started with accounting and other services and then went to banking and payroll management, other parts. At what stage did you start building your inventory and scheduling part for the customers?
Yeah, so inventory for us was the first thing we did after accounting, because it's so important for the restaurants. And so we did that many years, that's back in 2014, probably. And then scheduling was a couple of years after that. That was the next major thing we did after inventory was scheduling.
Got it. Okay. So next time I want to ask you about your most recent acquisition, Compeat. So the way I see, there are two big behemoths in the US today. One is you and the other one is Toast, right? So Toast acquired Extra Chef, which was doing inventory management, and Toast didn't have that capability because they were integrating with other players. But you already had inventory management. I see a lot of overlaps between what you were doing and what Compeat was doing. What was the rationale behind acquiring them, or was it for the team or technology or both?
Yeah, we've known Compeat for a long time, right? They like you said, they have a very similar offering feature wise to what we offer. Right. And so we've bumped up against them in the sales process many times, and we've seen them and we've chatted with them over the years. And this just seemed like the right time for our companies to come together. One is to stop fighting against each other in some of these and be able to use the resources to develop even more. We're really passionate about the R&D side. I think we probably spend more at Restaurant365 on R&D than other software companies of our size. And so and we're serious about that. We really want to continue to innovate. And so being able to join Compeat into the mix allows us even more resources financially to do that. And another side of it, like you mentioned, is that they had some talented folks. They had about 100 really talented people. And so we were grateful to bring them in and have them be part of our company, because that just helps us to push forward as well. So it was some of that size and the resources that enable us to push forward. And then, a little bit of so much of what we're doing links together so well, it just seemed like a no-brainer.
Got it. Okay. Congrats on the acquisition, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to ask you was, do you believe in creating an open system? By that, what I mean is, I know a lot of players don't want to expose their APIs for other tech partners to integrate with. Do you believe that this model is changing in the US in particular, where everyone wants to talk to each other and exchange data? And I mean, essentially for the restaurants to choose the best of the products in the world.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to see that change happening. When we started, like I said, we connect with 110 point of sales today. And when we started, we tried to connect with some that really rebuffed us. They said, oh, we don't want to be connected with other people. And so it was really hard at the beginning. And we had Restaurant365, because our goal was to completely connect them. And so with that vision of being the connected restaurant, we were saying you can do as much as you can in our system, and anything you can't, we'll talk to it. So yeah, that's been our approach. I'm a big believer in that. If you ask customers, what do you want? That's what they want, right? They want their systems to be connected and talk. And so a company that thinks, well, I can make more money by not giving the customers what they want, I think that's a poor long-term strategy.
Yeah, I agree with you. So Tony, coming to the last bit of it, a couple of more questions for you. So typically, the point of sale companies in US have been making money more from the payment processing part rather than the SaaS fee. Do you think that's a fair strategy to go with, or is my assumption right?
Yeah, your assumption is right on some of it. Depends on where they're playing. Like if the point of sale targets enterprise level customers, very few of those huge companies want to process their payments through the point of sale because they have their own relationships. And so it's when you get down to the smaller mid-market, especially the small groups themselves, that's where those point of sale companies are able to make a lot more money on the payments because they make it easier. And so in that level of the market, it makes a ton of sense. As you go up, it makes less sense.
Got it. I got it. So just looking forward towards the future. I mean, I see a lot of consolidation happening in the US market of late. I mean, with Fourth acquiring Hot Schedules and Fourth getting acquired by a private equity company. And a bunch of small players are kind of getting absorbed by bigger players. Do you see that trend is going to continue in US for some time?
Yeah, I do. I definitely think it's going to continue because there's a few companies out there that are really pretty sizable and fairly well financed, funded. And so because of that, I think they'll continue to be aggressive the market was really fragmented, say 3 years ago, and it's really started to consolidate and make more sense to the end consumers. And so I think we'll still see a bit more of that.
Yeah. So I think till about 3-4 years ago, the only two names everyone could hear was NCR and Oracle Micros, right?
Yep.
Which were the on-premise solutions, $20,000-$30,000 a year, no open API access to other people. But I think in the last 3 years, I think the cloud segment has grown by 30-40% year on year, or even more than that.
Yeah. It's been the cloud POS segment. I think some of the years grew more than 100% per year for cloud specific adoption, to the point where now you see Micros coming out with Symphony, and you see these groups working on a more cloud-based platform as well, because that's where the restaurant industry has gone at this point.
Got it. Okay. So coming to the last part of it, what are your immediate and future plans, and any plans to expand to other geographies?
Yeah, right now, our immediate plan, if you say immediate, our immediate plan is to really get Compeat, that whole software platform, as well as the employees, well integrated with our business and our solutions, so that there's real clarity in terms of our product offering and the fact that they all talk to each other and that kind of thing. As we're doing that, of course, we're always moving forward with other development that we have in the pipeline. We'll never stop with that. And so over the next year and a half, you'll see us continue to bring out other products and advance it. We definitely believe coming out of this difficult pandemic that we've been in, we're not pulling back now. I think you'll see an acceleration at this point.
Yeah. So in fact, one of my customer in Bangalore has an outlet in Dallas, and he uses Restaurant365.
Oh, okay.
It's called as Windmills. They're a brewery based out of Bangalore, and they have an outlet in Dallas.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. So I've taken a look at your product. In fact, I was there yesterday having a look at your entire back office stuff.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, I'm glad we have someone in common.
Yeah. So it's good. All right, Tony. I think that's all I had for the evening. It was wonderful pleasure having a chat with you. Very sprightly, young, energetic man. And I wish you all success for more growth and more cost cutting for the restaurants and giving them what they require to thrive well in the industry.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to chat.
Yeah. All right. Cheers then.
Yeah.
Thank you.